Hello, and thank you for stopping by. I'm your host, Jerry Royce, and welcome to Positive Power 21 Network, where you get your positive on. This is a worldwide podcast for growth, wealth, and success. Thank you.
Positive Power 21.org, Internet Radio.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Positive Power 21.org. When it's all positive, it's all power. I want to thank everybody for joining me and checking out the website. I noticed the hits are really getting up there. We're having some great guests. We had a wonderful show on Saturday with a group of three young men. They were all three of them were in their 30s. Two were single. One was married, and it was a great discussion. So please check it out. I've been hitting you guys up on Twitter and Facebook. But it's on our site right now, so going under Radiocast or under Jerry's podcast, and have yourself a good time listening to some of them shows. And I appreciate all the feedback and all the love that I've been getting for the program. We really appreciate everybody at Positive Power and Team 21. Really appreciate all the love, so continue to support us and spread the word and share. The magic word is share. All right. Tonight on my show, we have a positive thinker. She's happened to be my cousin. She's from the Eastern Shore. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself, how she's been making it out here, because I know it's kind of rough for a lot of single moms. And she's going to sell us a little bit on what she do to keep herself positive and keep her energy high. And just keep in mind, we all are human, so we do have our bad days, all of us. It's just the way it is. All right, Joy, welcome to the show. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm well. I'm so glad that you've asked me to be on your show. I'm excited.
All right. And maybe this will be one that go viral. Right?
That'll be a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you representing the single moms out there that's doing it up. I want you to tell us a little bit about your daughter and what it's been like. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into your background. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, like you had mentioned a little earlier, I'm an Eastern Shore girl. So I'm a country girl. And when I left home to go to college, to go to undergrad, I went to Towson. And I just knew that once, I got my degree and kept it moving, that I probably wanted to move away from the Eastern Shore. I still have strong ties there. I love it there, but I knew I needed to grow a little bit. I kind of needed to branch away. So I ended up, in Baltimore County, and that's where I've been for a long time.
That's right. Because you had bought a home here, and you're raising your daughter.
Yeah.
Now you were married, so we're going to get into a little bit about that because we want the young girls to know. Sometimes we make choices.
That's right.
Right. But we can still overcome them, right?
It's life. It's all about life lessons and what you've learned from those life lessons. I didn't set out to be a single mom because it was kind of like, I just knew I always wanted to get married and I wanted to have a child, but I didn't know that I would end up getting a divorce. So my thing is, well, you know what? I know a lot of single moms. I grew up knowing, single moms. Also grew up knowing people who were in very unhappy marriages, so I knew that was an option for me, that I didn't have to stay in something that I did not feel could be salvaged. Mm-hmm. And so being a single mom did not scare me because I had the tools. I was raised by a wonderful woman, my mom, who is just an awesome person, a very positive person. So,
Amen.
Yeah, so, I knew that I would be able to do anything that I set out to do with being a mother, whether it was in a marriage or not in a marriage, but that I would be okay.
That's right. Now, let's back up a little bit. Now,
sure.
You like you said, you were a country girl. Now, you were a very good student. I remember when Mike and I met you, we were doing we were promoting fashion shows on the Eastern Shore, and you were recruited to be a model. I think it was even before we knew we were related to you because you was one of the popular girls at the school. So tell us a little bit about what you were like.
Cousins.
That's right. Before we knew. So tell us a little bit about what kind of student you were in high school.
Sure. Oh gosh, high school was great, but I didn't set out to be popular. For some reason, I just connected myself to just really good people and nice people. And I think when we were together, I think other students saw that positive energy that we just had. It wasn't like, we set out to do it. I think sometimes people of like minds and positivity just kind of connect, just kind of, go towards one another. So high school was great because, I had a lot of wonderful experiences, like just still keeping in contact with some folks now, from high school, even though, it might be mostly through Facebook, but the fact that we've reconnected and knowing what's going on with their lives, and it's been really great. But, I had a lot of neat friends back in high school. We did a lot of fun things. And yeah, school, I was a good student, I think. I got into college, so.
That's right. Give a shout-out to that high school that you went to.
Cambridge South Dorchester High School, CSD Vikings. So.
That's right. All right. Now, I didn't have the opportunity to attend school on the Eastern Shore, but I spent a lot of time on the farm down there because old Pop had a big farm down there. We, after baseball season, Mike and I found ourselves digging in the sand, pulling cucumbers and tomatoes for a living. So
yeah, we had a garden. Oh my gosh, we even at one point, I think we had. Oh my gosh, we had chickens, ducks, pigs. We grew our own corn. We grew all kinds of vegetables and fruits. So, I mean, there was one point I'm like, really? There was a lot of action happening on the land. But but the thing that I love about back home and growing up where I did grow up was the space, was the the possibility of growing your own food and raising your own livestock if that's what you chose to do and not be dependent on supermarkets, but just growing your own stuff. So I learned how to do that. I used to love hanging out in the garden with my dad and, seeing him plant the different seeds for the different vegetables or fruit. And yeah, I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. People see me because I like to dress nice every day and wear cute, outfits and high heels because of my job. I love, looking girly. I think that's fun. But when it comes down to it, I will get down the dirt and do what I got to do. I love, getting my hands messy.
That's right, because when you out there in that farm, man, that's grinding right there. That sun hitting your back, 95, 97 degrees, and you get a little water break. And my grandfather used to give us like a tomato. You get like a tomato for lunch.
Exactly.
And some water.
Right off the vine. Yeah, the tomato right off the vine, and kept it moving.
Kept it moving, man. And we had to pull our load, man. So I couldn't believe how much we used to get paid for one basket of tomatoes. And I said, shoot, I could have sold 2 tomatoes to get 50 cents. Man, that's grinding, boy. Well, it made me the man I am today, and I appreciate the job I have. I tell people, I said, I used to be a farmer, so that was my very first job. So, but it wasn't going to be my last.
I know that's right.
All right. So, okay, so you made your way out of the country.
Yeah.
You're a graduate of, because you study your grad degree. You have a grad degree also, right?
Right. So I decided to pursue my graduate degree years later after undergrad because, I was just so happy getting my degree. I was first-generation college student in my family, my immediate family. So, I mean, I had some other cousins. Thank you. I had other cousins who had gone off. But as far as, like, my immediate family, I was the first person to graduate from college, and I knew the goal was just to make a living, to get a job, to establish myself, to have a lifestyle that I knew that my parents wanted me to have. And then I felt something, I felt like I needed to go a little further. So, yeah, a few years later, I went to grad school. I went to Bowie for my grad program, and it was the most awesome experience. I had the most amazing, professors, and they opened my eyes to a lot of things. So graduate school was so much different than undergrad. I loved undergrad, but graduate school was just an amazing experience because I was also working and I was living on my own. And so, my life was also different as well. Yeah. But it was a wonderful experience.
Good. All right. Okay, so then after that, so what happened after that? Did you get married right after school, or you went to work?
Right.
First?
So, still working and doing grad school. And while in grad school, I did meet my my then husband. And I can't remember. Oh, I think we met at a wedding rehearsal. And so we connected.
Every time.
Yeah, so we connected. And I would say about a year later, we got married. And a few years after that, we had our daughter.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Shout out to Camille.
shout out to Camille.
She just celebrated her birthday, right?
She did. She turned 10 a couple of months ago. So the time really flies. I mean, I can't even think about it because I start getting all teary-eyed. I mean, it's been 10 years, and just to see her grow up into this amazing girl. She's awesome.
Yes,
she's my heart.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, she's a great student. I had the pleasure to watch her grow up in my Taekwondo program, and, we miss her there so much. So we know one day she'll reappear. So we hope to continue
her
that
interests,
program.
they're all over the place. Like, she's really active in Girl Scouts right now, and now she also wants to explore gymnastics, so we're thinking about that. And it's interesting because, today kids have so much homework, and so it's also trying to balance out having enough time to make sure that, she can understand what's happening at home, let alone when she's getting in school. But when she's home, explain to me what you've just learned and explain to me what you have to show what you've learned. And so that takes time, and you also have to have time for your extracurriculars. So you kind of don't want to spread your kids out too thin, but at the same time you want to help them develop all of their interests too. And kids have a lot of interests.
That's right. And that's where we are right now in the segment of the show. We're hitting the second quarter of the show, and this is where we are right now. We talk about positive thinking. Okay, now you have your daughter that you're responsible for. You want to see her have the same opportunities that you had, and but at the same time, you had both your parents with you, so they were both able to balance you, because I know you are a very, very busy person. At the high school. So how are you able to do that? I mean, now I know your ex-husband is living in the area now, so he's probably able to help you a little bit more. So are you guys communicating for the sake of the child?
Well, the thing is, for her sake, I make sure that he is aware of everything that she's involved in, because it's important. So, he knows about her Girl Scout trips, or he knows about, we also participate in, parent conferences, teacher-parent conferences. So those things, I definitely make sure that, he's aware of. And in terms of her just being an active kid, she has a pretty good relationship with him. So
yes, very good.
So that's important as well. And, my thing is, for me, what's important, especially, raising a child through a divorce, is to make sure that I foster a positive relationship between my daughter and her dad, because that's her dad. And so it's important that, she has a healthy, positive, image of him and who he is in her life, because he's not with her every day. And so you have to make sure that, and kids know, kids see the difference. They know that, kids come home to either one parent or two parents. And so, to make sure that she knows she's loved and she's supported. And, it's hard sometimes, but you do what you have to do. And at the end, they know that they are loved. And at the end, they know that they have a wonderful support system. And I think that's what's most important.
Absolutely. And one thing I noticed, because I've been around, I know Jones pretty well, and his parents are involved, so I thought seeing that, you guys together at the school, was super for the welfare of the child. And you're a good model with that. I mean, that's something that other women should take notice when they see this. Say, wow, they're not fighting and pulling each other's hair out in public. We don't know what happens behind the scene, but we know in public you guys are very respectful. And and he always had, positive things to say. The way the relationship was being established. And I know sometimes you're going to run across some rough spots, because I went through the same thing with my son's mother when when she was going through some stuff with her husband. She was stressed. Now, that's another thing we want to talk about. Now, you have to balance your job. Now, you have a professional job. Are you in charge of anybody or delegate projects or anything? Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So I work with anything that involves developmental education at the Community College of Baltimore County. I'm at the Catonsville campus. So I pretty much any policies, instruction, programs, anything that affects students who are in developmental courses, also formerly known as remedial courses, that's the stuff that I'm involved with. But I do have professional staff who work with me to meet individually with students based on their needs. But most of the stuff that I deal with is more policy and programmatic. So it can be a little hectic. It can, because
Right.
you also still have your college service that you need to do. You can't just stay in your box. You have to also get out there and do things for the betterment of the college as a whole and not just a certain segment. So it can get a little crazy.
That's right. That's right. So now, what type of boss you have? Your boss pretty easygoing, kind of give you a little freedom, spread your wings.
The
What
thing
type of
that
boss
I
do you have?
do like about where I am is that my boss is very knowledgeable of what it is that she does, which makes her knowledgeable of what it is that we have to do. And, you know, I've been at CCBC for a long time, so I think that kind of helps me have a little more leverage and freedom to kind of, you know, have more autonomy to take care of the things I need to take care of and do the things that I need to do. But I think as a professional, you know, I have a good relationship with my boss in terms of communication. You know, if things are going on, I let her know this is what's happening. And in terms of maybe taking the time off that I need for my daughter or for my mom, and you know, I just give her a heads up, and I do what I have to do, because my family will always be my priority, and that is known in the workforce when it comes to me. That, you know, my supervisor knows my family's first. She knows your mommy, you know, your mommy.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then that's important. That's important because a lot of times I find that bosses and employees don't always have like a good connection where they communicate, because one of the things that you always hear, you know, when you go on an interview, you know, don't mention you're a single mom, because the first thing they're going to think, oh, she's going to be off all the time, because they figure that a good employee is an employee that's there at least 80% of the time. They say you're a good employee if you're just there at 80% of the time. So you're thinking about, wow, if she has one or more children, that means she's going to be out a little more than what the rest of them going to be out. And then if they mention they have an aging parent they're taking care of, then you're thinking about, oh, they got to take off for doctor visits and this and that. So sometimes it can kind of strike fear in a shop, you know.
It can, but I think, you know, being in my position helps. And again, you know, just when I started at CCBC, you know, I was married at the time. I didn't have a daughter at the time, and so my boss has seen the transitions that my life has gone through over the years. And so, you know, and she understood quite a bit of it, because her life had gone through a lot of those transitions, you know, before mine. So it's not like it was new to her. She knew what it was like to, you know, have a child. She knew what it was like to get, you know, go through a divorce. So most people are very aware. It's just how do they deal with it. And I think, you know, if you have a good relationship with your boss in terms of, I'm not making any apologies for when I need to take time off for my mother or my child. It is what it is. You know, I need to take, you know, such and such day off because I need to do this for my mom, or I need to take my daughter here or there or whatever. And I mean, if you come at it, because there's no excuses, you are professional, and my work speaks for itself. So it's not like I'm a slacker. You know, I work and I get the job done, and I'm good at what I do. So if I'm not in because I need to do something for my mom or my daughter, it's not gonna, you know, be a hassle, because, well, she's doing her job.
That's right. That's right. There you go. Know. Now, do they offer telework?
Not really. No, not really. So
okay, because it's getting kind of popular right now with the federal government, and they're hoping that it's going to pass down like a domino effect to some of the other agencies and organizations and state schools.
I think where I am, it's really up to what you work out with your supervisor, and then if the supervisor's supervisor is okay with it. So there are a couple of tiers involved. But if it's really positively necessary, that's worked out with you and your supervisor. So for me, you know, the great thing about where I work is I have great benefits. So it's not like I'm going to not have the time off to use for my family. I do, and I'm going to use it. That's what it's for.
Right. All right. Sound good. All right. Now, some of the challenges that a lot of single moms are having right now is that they can't accept seeing their ex life move forward, because sometimes they look at it like men have the advantage. They can just jump out of a relationship right into another one just like that, where it's not that easy for the females to do. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
I think because, especially if you're the custodial parent, and so, you know, the child is with you the majority of the time, you can't just get out there. You have your kid. You know, so if, you know, the other parent, has more flexibility in his or her schedule, then yeah, that can be a little envious. What's important is that you have a great support system, though, whether it's your family or whether it's your friends. And here's my thing. Before you go out here and put yourself out there, make sure it's really what you want to do, because you really should know yourself before you put yourself out on someone else. So, you know what, let your ex go out and have fun. It's important to have fun, but that's not a reflection of you. That's not a reflection of who you are. You know, you will determine when the time comes for you to get back out there or to get out there all together and make more connections. But have a support system in place, and don't worry about what someone else has. Deal with what you have or what you want. So I think sometimes, we can get a little envious because it's like, I can't do this or I can't do that. Okay, so, look at what you do have. If you're a good parent, be that good parent. Be a better parent. If you have good friends, be a good friend, be a better friend. Be a better kid to your own parents. Work on yourself, but don't worry about what someone else has, because it's not a reflection on you.
That's right. That is so true, and I like the way you put that. Very positive. Now, what's the dating world like for you right now? Finding that Mr. Right.
It's very interesting, because you think you get a certain age and you've gone through life experiences. You kind of just know, but I think each time you get into another relationship, whether it's a short-term or a long-term relationship, you get to find out more about yourself, and you also get to find out what is important and what's not important in a relationship. So right now, I really have not put myself out there. I was in a relationship for a long time, I would say over 3 years, and it was a wonderful relationship. But unfortunately, it didn't go the distance. And so I'm not going to get bitter or say, well, why? It ended. And so that's the thing. As an adult, things end. What did you learn from it? What are you going to take away from it? What are some things that you want to have again, and what are some things that you don't want to have from that relationship when you're getting into a relationship with someone else? So, it helped me learn a little more about myself, too, that I thought I already knew, but I didn't.
Yeah, 3 years is a long time. Now, how does that affect your daughter? I mean, she was involved with this guy, seeing him, at the house, and you guys going out, being a family. How did it affect her?
It was interesting, because even before she knew I was dating, because I didn't introduce him to her when we started dating. I wanted to make sure that I felt this relationship could go the distance, and so it was quite a little bit of time had gone by before I even introduced him to her, and even then it was just as a friend, and then it took even a little bit more time for, me to explain that he was a different kind of friend, because she was a little younger too,
Right.
So and the thing is, I have an open door. My daughter and I talk about a lot of things, but what she also was aware of is that in our relationship, we included her in things that were appropriate to include her in. So we did some fun things together, and she cared about him a great deal. He cared about her a great deal. So, but when the relationship ended, I was very honest, and I talked to her about it, and she was sad, but you know what? I think because her life is a little different than some of her friends, because she's seen her parents go through a divorce. So she's seen transition. But she's also seen that her mom has been very resilient. She hasn't seen her mommy cry about it. She hasn't seen her mommy curl up in a ball in a corner. She's seen her mom get up, put her work clothes on, take her to school, and go to work, come home, cook dinner, check homework like any other day.
That's right.
So she knows that life goes on. And whenever she wanted to talk about him, we talk about him. Same thing now, even when she wants to talk about her dad. We talk about her dad. Even though she sees him, sometimes she just wants to talk about him with me. Well, then let's talk about it. Because life is about transitions. Nothing lasts forever as much as we would like for them to. Again, I never planned to get a divorce, but it happened. So what are we going to do about it? There's a child involved. What are we going to do about it? I had hoped the relationship that I was last in was going to work, but it didn't. What are we going to do about it? So I'm at a point where, again, even if I were dating, I'm very cautious as to who I introduce my daughter to.
Yeah.
So, again, it has to be someone who I think can go the distance. But right now, I'm at a point in my life where if I get out there again, I'll get out there again, but I'm just not that pressed about it because I don't want to have, to date for the sake of dating and to just, I don't know. I just kind of feel like my life is so full. I have so many, wonderful family and friends who I just love and who I just look forward to spending time with. And so if that person can make me just as happy being around him, that's a plus. But
that's
so
right,
I'm not searching
right.
for anything. I'm not seeking anything.
Yeah,
but,
I was going to ask you. So that's not really like the main thing on your plate right now that you have to be in a relationship right now. Because just think, once you get a little older, the professional men that's out there, a lot of the guys. Now, do you think you were a little lucky when you met him? I mean, like how many guys did you saw before him before you said, wow, this is a good catch? Because he was a very professional guy. Pretty much any guy that a mom and dad would like to see their daughter with, good job.
My mom got along with him.
Yeah, right. It's like what happened, daughter? What happened?
Right. Well,
that's what I was been saying as a dad. To my daughter, like, what you do? What you do?
I know, right? What'd you do? Actually, before him, I went out lunch dates, dinner dates, all kinds of little, casual dates with several guys. And again, I really don't remember the count, but they were very casual. I would go with my friends and I'd meet guys, and if there was some sort of connection, we exchange information, and I would meet them for lunch or meet them for dinner. And sometimes it was more than one date, but unless I felt like it was really worth introducing my daughter to those guys, I just wouldn't. So she never met any of them. So it was months and months of just dating, different guys and seeing what they were about. So when I met this gentleman and we, hit it off, it was different. It was very different. I felt that it was different because it was just the chemistry. You have chemistry with someone and you enjoy, honestly, being around that person, even if it's
y'all
just
look good together.
television.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. But, but just honestly being around that person you were okay with, whether it was watching television or having dinner at a fancy restaurant or just reading a book. But just to be in their presence, you were comfortable with that. And we were very comfortable with that. I think for me, my life is so different than his was at the time. And I think sometimes, unless you kind of have some backstory or can kind of get all of it, there might be a disconnect. And I just think, my opinion is, I think it was kind of a disconnect as the relationship moved forward. Because I'm going to always be a mom, and I'm going to always have responsibilities. So my view about a lot of things might be different than some folks who've never experienced marriage or raising a child or having certain responsibilities. If you're just responsible for taking care of yourself, you might have a little different worldview than someone who is taking care of others.
That's right.
And it doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means it's different. So where I am now, the reason I say I'm just not so pressed about getting out there now is because I'm cautious. If I meet a gentleman, I would like to think that there are some similarities that we have so that he gets it, that he honestly gets it, that I can't, go out certain times because I have responsibilities. And he may know he can't go out at all times because he has responsibilities, but getting it and accepting it.
That's right. But you know what, though? He may learn himself from this past experience that if another mom come along, that, from your experience, he would know that we can't do everything on the spur of the moment. Because right now, my sister's going through the same thing, and she met a nice gentleman. So far, they went out on their second date, and and we had a long talk with him because I had him on the show, and that's what attracted her to him. Those comments on the show, and he said he had dated females that had children. He said he liked the children better than he liked the date. So, and he has a son himself, so he understands. So he kind of, his boat is a little different than I guess the guy you were seeing because he didn't have any kids.
Right.
So I guess he can be a little more compassionate with some of the issues that can come up.
Yeah. I think, where I am now, it's funny. I look back at myself years ago, and it was so funny. I used to have this conversation in my mind. I'm never going to date a man who has kids, and I'm never going to date a guy who has been married. Well, of course, I was in my 20s then. But then as I got older and my life changed, I'm like, well, right now, I really wouldn't consider dating a guy who hasn't been married or who hasn't at least been in a very serious committed relationship. I wouldn't want to date a guy who doesn't know what it's like to be a parent or a guardian, because that's where my life is. And and I would like to have someone to connect that with. And again, it's important that they get it, that they connect with it. And that's why I'm not out there, trying to date Mr. whomever. It's just when I meet him, I meet him.
That's right. So you're in a good place right now.
I'm in a very good place right now.
Good. And so let's hit up a couple questions real quick.
Sure.
All right. So we understand your situation you're in right now. So as a single mom, we want to know, where do you get your energy from, and what motivates you?
Oh gosh. I guess what motivates me is my happiness. What makes me happy? My family makes me happy. My friends make me happy. So I need to have a lifestyle to make them happy. I need to connect with people. So working, getting out there, working, making a living for my family, knowing that I'm helping my daughter with being the best, person that she can be, that makes me happy. So I guess that probably energizes me as well, because there is a focus. There is a mission. I'm not just living for myself. I'm living for others, and that's important to me.
Good. All right. So what are you passionate about?
Oh, gosh. I think professionally, I'm passionate about people understanding each other where they are, and whether it's in the workplace, like from student to student, student to teacher, administrator to faculty, administrator to student. But there's so much that people come in with that we don't know about, or that we may assume something about, which automatically builds offense. It automatically builds some miscommunication. So my passion is knowing that stuff, knowing what that is. I've been doing more work with culturally remediated instruction, and it's so many different theories, but basically what it is we don't know what people are coming in with, but we get to find out, and we get to facilitate their stuff so that when they leave, they know what it is, and they're able to communicate a little more effectively. They're able to maybe be a better teacher or a better student or a better administrator. But that's a passion. I don't know if it's kind of like, sociology when you think about it, just looking at everything that makes a person, also a blend of psychology mainly, what makes a person, his or her worldview, and what they're coming in with, and I love learning about that. So right now I'm doing more of that in my job with culturally remediated instruction, and trying to build more on that professionally. And personally, my passion is just trying to be this mom who allows her daughter to find her own way, to give her guidance, but to let her just be the person that she's capable of being. So to help her with her ideas and her views, to make her open-minded. And again, my daughter and I talk about a lot of stuff, and because my thing is, if I close you out on things, you're going to walk through the world closed. You need to walk through the world open. And there are going to be some things that may make you uncomfortable, some things that you are going to have more questions about, but there are things that you need to know because it's in the world. And I need to prepare you for the world.
That's right. All right. Let's talk about emotion. What moves you to tears of joy or sorrow?
Joy. Oh gosh. It's interesting. I'm such a softie. Anything in which a child is happy, in which there is just happiness altogether, that brings me to tears. I can cry just being around with my girlfriends because we're connecting and laughing so much about something that I can't believe I'm in that moment at that time. You know what I mean? It's like we're just laughing, and I'm like, this is where I so want to be right now, and I'm so thankful for that right now.
I know.
And it's amazing, and I'm overwhelmed. you know, that, so your happiness, you know,
That's
and
right.
it comes in so many forms. What drives me to tears? With sadness, you say?
Yeah. What's sad? What bring you sorrow?
You know, when I just know we can just do better.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that with our kids sometimes. I'm like, who didn't help you, or who helped you but maybe fell a little short, or because we can't. I don't think any one person can be all things to all people. But when I see something that could get fixed, can I help fix it? And if I see that it can't get fixed by me, well, how can it get fixed? Any sort of injustice, anything that involves our kids with injustice. Again, I'm raising my daughter, and when I see things happening to our young people, and I'm like, and she has to be out there in it, that makes me sad. Because if we can't be there for our young people, if we can't protect our young people, that frightens me as a parent. As a parent. Another thing that moves me to tears in a good way, and again, it's so funny. You know how people are in church and they show their happiness by jumping or singing or dancing? I don't really do that. I just, if I see a dance ministry or I'm listening to a song that really gets me, I'll just start crying. I just start crying. I'll be in church. I'm like, oh man, let me wipe the, people looking at me. People stand up, standing
up,
clapping or dancing. I'm up there crying, trying to play it off like my contact. Hold on.
That's right. All right, here's another one for you.
So your God moves me. He makes me happy.
That's right. God bring us joy. Here's one for you. Here, stress release. What do you find works for you to release stress?
Having me time. I have to not be disturbed, and that's a rarity, but to just have a few moments to myself, whether, even if I'm cooking dinner, just don't come in the kitchen, okay? I just want to be to myself. Because I'm preparing something, but I'm also, de-stressing. I'm just
meditating.
In my zone. Yeah, I'm in my zone.
So you meditate while you're cooking, just thinking.
I think about a lot of stuff. My mind goes all over the place to meditate, so I don't do so well with meditation because I'm always thinking about stuff, and then my mind is going from one place to another. But it's just having some time, of uninterrupted time, whether I want to play a song or I just want to watch a few minutes of a TV show or read a book for a little bit, or just, how about just nothing, just silence and just closing my eyes and just chilling. But just not to be interrupted for a few minutes. And when I can get that, I'm in such a happy place. I'm a happy person. I am. And then, my mom and my daughter can come on down. Hey, guys, come on, dinner's ready. Let's go. Let's eat. Let's have a good time.
That's right. Now you're ready to enjoy the family. That is all right, Joy. That is all right. I really appreciate you coming on.
Oh,
that was fantastic.
You.
That was fantastic. Now, before we go, one last comment you'd like to make to some of the single moms out there, is going through some tough times right now?
Pull on your resources, and know who your resources are. They may not be family members. It may not. I don't know. It's just, if you know positive people, family, friends, coworkers, whatever. But if you know positive people, surround yourself with positive people. Don't feel like you owe someone your friendship, because your friendship is valuable. It's worthy. You're worthy. So as a single parent, just surround yourself with positive people, even if it's a small group. You don't need a lot, because those few people who are in your life who are positive are going to be there for you when you're feeling down. They're going to lift you back up. They're going to be that ear. They're going to listen to you. They're not going to judge you, but they're not going to let you just, not be the best you that you can be. They're going to love you. And then you're going to feel that, and you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Trust and believe. You will.
That's right. Love it. That was fantastic, Joy.
Thank
All
you.
right, now that was Joy Adams, a positive thinker. You heard her. She dropped it down to you. I mean, the way she's been through a lot, but she's still holding her head high. Professional woman. I really appreciate you being on the show and sharing it with us.
Oh,
that was
thank
fantastic.
you for asking.
All
this is
right,
great. This is making me all upbeat. So yay.
All right. Well, hold the line. Let me end the show. All right, hold the line for me, okay? All right. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. Again, that was Joy Adams, a positive thinker. People like her, a tape like this, you should just listen to it over and over again if you find yourself losing control. Because sometimes that's what happens. People can take you to that point, you know, whether you're having problems with an ex or a baby daddy or an in-law, whatever. Hey, just come back to Positive Power and we'll bring you back. Take care, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to the Positive Power 21 Network. Team 21 would like to thank you all for tuning in, and please spread the word and tell a friend. This is Jerry Royce at Positive Power 21, where we get our positive on.